Salakia.
Why does it seem like when you make your voting decisions, they're based on capital rather than the working class? Billionaires and corporations got their tax issues enshrined in the law forever, but the working class gets a no tax on tips or overtime that only applies to some of us, and now we wind up in a situation where we are. With all due respect, sir, the Republican Party, now more than ever, represents the heart and soul of the working class. I want to go right into this bill because I know this is something a lot of people have questions about, and quite frankly, from where I sit, there's been a lot of misinformation out there about the bill. Would you sign on or write up a bill for Medicare for all? We've got Medicare now. We can start rolling back the age 5, 10 years at a time. Would you support that? We can't afford that. Yes, you can. I truly believe this bill protects Medicaid for the future.
With $450 million FEMA dollars being reallocated to open Alligator Alcatraz and $600 million taxpayer FEMA dollars being used to now open more concentration camps and ICE burning through $8.4 million a day to illegally detain people, how much does it cost for fascism? How much do the taxpayers have to pay for a fascist country?
Americans went to the polls in November, and they had a choice between a Democratic candidate that had an open border, no enforcement, fentanyl, drugs, human trafficking. And they had a choice between that and a candidate that said, close the border, get illegal immigrants out of our country.
This monkey just deflected, didn't he?
Why does it seem like when you make your voting decisions, they're based on capital rather than the working class?
Let's go get it. Boom. Boom. Deflection. Let's use misdirection. Misdirection is the act of diverting attention away from something to conceal a secret action, a concept used heavily in magic, but also in other contexts like storytelling, psychology, and even warfare. It relies on the principle that the human mind can only focus on a limited amount of information at a time. Okay? At one time, allowing performers to guide attention to a desired location or idea while carrying out a hidden move or a plan elsewhere. Okay? So that's the plan. He used deflection. Okay? Techniques. Magicians use various methods to misdirect, such as social cues and emotional manipulation, guiding the audience's emotions or reactions. Patter in spoken word, using conversation to draw focus. Splitting focus, encouraging the audience to multitask or pay attention to multiple things at once, making them less aware of the main action. Right? Psychology. The effectiveness of misdirection is based on cognitive principles like inattentional blindness, where a person's failure to notice a fully visible but unexpected object because they are focused on something else. Right? Storytelling. Authors use character misdirection, such as false ally or false enemy, to mislead the reader about a character's true role for a plot twist. Right? Military and intelligence. Historical examples show that military forces have used misdirection through ruses, deception, and camouflage, drawing on the same principles used by magicians. Media and politics. Misdirection can be a tool for manipulating public attention, as seen when a media story is released at a specific time to distract from another event. General usage. In a literal sense, misdirection can also mean providing incorrect directions or inefficient management of resources. Okay? Salakia, let's go get deflection. Because that's what he did. Deflection. The action or process of deflecting or being deflected. What does it mean when someone is deflecting? When someone is deflecting, they are using a defense mechanism to avoid taking responsibility or facing criticism by shifting the focus to someone or something else. That's exactly what you just saw in the video. What was it? Republican Representative Mike Flood, right? He deflected. He used misdirection. Okay? He blamed it on every goddamn thing else and refused to take responsibility for what's happening in America, right? This can involve changing the subject, blaming another person, projecting their own faults, or even attacking the other person. It's a way of protecting their self-image or avoiding an uncomfortable confrontation. Blame shifting. A child spills a drink and says, Johnny did it. Changing the subject. In response to questions about their mistake, a person asks the other person, how are you so perfect? Right? Attacking the accuser. Instead of addressing their behavior, the person criticizes the other person's appearance or character. For example, how can you talk about my mistakes when you've gained weight? That's an example. Okay, hypothetically speaking. Playing the victim. Those Amalekite Khazars over there that call themselves the JOOs and are not, but do lie, and are of the synagogue of Satan, being clearly, as it is written in Revelation chapter 2 verse 9 and Revelation chapter 3 verse 9, that they attend synagogues. The only people on the planet that attend synagogues are those that lie and say they're someone else's nationality. Because if you go back and do the research on your own in the biblical scriptures, the Israelites would call upon the name of the Lord and he would save them, right? That's the entire narrative of the Bible. These individuals over there calling themselves Jews and are not, are playing the victim in order to push a narrative using misdirection and deflection against their accusers, who are what the individuals in the Gaza Strip. Okay? Exterminating these people. They just signed a bullshit peace treaty that Bibi Mikalski, aka Benjamin Nothing Not a Jew, he just violated it within the last 48 hours. Okay? He just violated it. They signed a peace accord on that shit 2 days ago. And he's already violating it. Already. They want those people completely exterminated, man. It's that simple. You think the Son of the Most High God ain't coming to kill these goddamn devils off the face of the earth? All praises to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rahawah Kakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for pushing 100% truth, who rule well. And peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom. Okay, these devils are using a defense mechanism to avoid taking responsibility or facing criticism by shifting the blame, playing the victim. An individual portrays themselves as the victim of a smear campaign to distract from their own wrongdoings. Is this not what Benjamin Nothing Not a Jew gets up there? He used biblical scriptures in Deuteronomy chapter 25 verses 17 through 19 to justify the extermination of people that had no ability to fight back. They have no standing army. Men, women, children, and babies. The entire goddamn planet is watching this motherfucker destroy an entire indigenous population of people. When they allowed them to come into their country with open arms in 1947, 1948. And then they come home from work, the doors are locked, the businesses are locked. Okay? And then after that you have war. Let's go to a biblical scripture, man, that really gonna take these Edomites the fuck off the face of the earth with stupid shit. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 2, right? Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the tops of the mountains. Meaning, okay, like it says in the prayer. Let me go get it. Matthew chapter 6, right? Okay, verse 9. Matthew chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. That's all I wanted to do. All right? Hold on. Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house, and mountains in the biblical scriptures are major governments, and hills and valleys are smaller governments that answer to the larger governments or vassal states. Okay? You could Google a vassal state. Let's Google a vassal state because I was accused of not doing any work. Okay? Vassal state. Vassal state meaning. A vassal state is a territory or a state that is subordinate to a more powerful one, providing it with military and economic support in exchange for protection and legitimacy. You just saw Donald Trump sign an agreement with Argentina, right? They're a vassal state. While it maintains some internal autonomy, it is dominated by the superior or suzerain state, particularly in its foreign affairs. Characteristics of a vassal state: subordinate relationship. A vassal state ranks lower than its superior or overlord. Mutual obligations. The relationship is based on mutual obligation where the vassal provides support like tribute and military service and the superior provides protection. Okay? That's all I wanted to get. Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the tops of the mountains. Right? And shall be exalted above the hills. So the hills are the vassal states. The mountains are the major governments, the overlords, right? The mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains. So we went to the Lord's Prayer. On earth as it is in heaven. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Okay? This is it. It entails the whole thing. And shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. How does that work when, as it is written right here in Joel chapter 3, verse 9, okay, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. If they just signed a peace agreement for there to be peace, Donald Trump was just talking shit out the side of his neck, saying that there's not going to be a World War III. No, there's not going to be a World War III. If we do this right, okay, if we don't make any mistakes, okay, there won't be a World War III, okay? Yeah, I mean, you lying motherfucker, you're just goddamn lies. It is going to be a World War III. It's saying right here, right? Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. And the mighty ones are the angels of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. The angels are going to come down in chariots. They just found three-eye axis, Atlas, or whatever the fuck it's called. Okay, how do we know that that's not the Lord? How do we know that they saying Muamua was a chariot of the Most High? They're saying that this chariot, 3XI Atlas, was supposed to go in one direction, but it changed direction and is coming towards the earth. Okay? And they had an object last month that was larger than the sun and covered the entire expanse of the sun as it went by. That's the fathership. That entails and has Yahushua HaMashiach, and thousands of angels, as it is written in the book of Jude, chapter 1, right? Salakia. Verse 14. And Enoch also the seventh from Adam prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints. I just put a video up on my channel of a brother that had showed a video of a giant starship that's bigger than the sun heading towards the earth with a giant swarm of smaller starships that were following it behind it in a swarm formation. And they're all coming towards the earth. That's the reason why these devils are falling all over themselves, fumbling in the dark, okay, in their secret councils, like it says in Job chapter 5, verse 12, they grope in the noonday as is darkness, okay? So they're falling all over themselves, and like it says in Psalm 64 and 8, so that their tongue shall fall upon themselves, right? Jude chapter 1 verse 14. And Enoch also the seventh from Adam prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and all of their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Okay? And this is what these devils are preaching. You had Benjamin Netanyahu, B.B. Mikowski, I think that's how Elder Malcolm pronounced it. I don't know, but I'll have to go back and watch it. Is that how he pronounced it? Because I don't know. But anyway, he used a biblical verse in Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 17, okay, and to 19, concerning, and applied and said and accused the Palestinians, which, and I think it was in either 1933 or 1853, where they changed their name from the Philistines to the Palestinians. Okay? From the Philistines to the Palestinians. Okay? I have to go back and double check on that, but when I first came into the truth, I ran across that information way back in 2018. Latter half of 2017, 2018. But like I said before, this is where Muamua and 3XI Atlas is coming towards the earth with a giant swarm of starships. Okay, but like it says in the book of Matthew, so I know not what hour the Son of Man cometh. Boom. Boom. Okay, let me do it this way. Boom. Okay. I'll just do it this way then. Can I do that? Okay. Okay. Luke 12 and 40. Be ye therefore ready also, for the Son of Man cometh at an hour when ye think not. Okay, let's go up here to, I think it's in Matthew. Yeah, there it is. Matthew 24 and 44. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not, the Son of Man cometh. Matthew 25 and 13. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. See, but they're trying to portray or project that the Son of God is coming. They've seen him in outer space, and now they're falling all over themselves in order to push this new world agenda. Okay, that's basically what they're doing. And this motherfucker's up there is using deflection and misdirection, telling the people one thing, but deflecting from the taking responsibility for what the Republican Party has done to the people. And the people are getting pissed up. This is going to cause civil unrest and national emergency. Right? Let's go to 2nd Ezra. I pushed the wrong Bible app probably. Yep. Okay. 2nd Ezra. Chapter, okay, go back this way. 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. And that's what we're doing by looking at the signs of the times. Like Yahushua HaMashiach said, the person you ignorantly call Jesus Christ. He said, You know, well, when the sky is lowering, you know when it's going to rain outside, but you know not what time. It's a sign of the times. You know, roughly paraphrase. But anyway, he said, he answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, when thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before, then shalt thou well understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua has these angels in unidentified aerial phenomenon, UFOs, as what these Edomite devils call them, and chariots of the Lord, okay, surveying all of everything that man does, because the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding all the ways of man, even their most secret parts, right? Right? Because the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, right? Then shalt, okay, therefore when thou shalt be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. See? Second Ezra chapter 9 verse 7. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed shall be preserved from the said perils. And the said perils are found in Jeremiah, right? Hold on. Jeremiah, where's that? Jeremiah chapter 30. Jeremiah chapter 30 verse 6, right? Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Right? Alas, for that day is great, so that there is none like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Right? Now, 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 8. These individuals that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by their works and by faith where they have believed in Yahweh Shai, shall be preserved from the said perils. And the said perils is Jacob's trouble. And it's happening. We're in Jacob's trouble right now. We're just at the beginning of it. And that's, you know, this is a scary thought, but you have to know the name of the Lord to call upon him in the time of trouble. So this way you'll be saved. Okay? He'll give you spiritual power. Like I said, man, let's go over here to Isaiah. Where's it at? Boom. Isaiah 59, verse 19. Right? Okay, let's start at verse 18. NOT. He will repay his enemies for their evil deeds. Okay? So the people are getting pissed off in an uproar. Uproars of the people, right? We just read it. So the people are getting pissed off. The MAGA base is pissed off at the Republican Party for ruining their heaven on earth. This is their heaven, where they rule over all their enemies. Okay? Right? And all their enemies are vassal states to them. Their mountain has been established through rape, murder, and bloodshed. Right? This is what the Edomite hegemony of white supremacy and white privilege does. Okay? We just saw a video of a woman bragging and telling the white MAGA base that they should be proud that they're white. Right? When they're not white, they're red. Like it says in Genesis, Esau came out red all over like an hairy garment. Thus his name was called Esau. Esau in the Hebrew language is Isashua, which means wasted away is he. Meaning that he has the most severe case of vitiligo. Okay? He has no melanin. Right? And but I don't want to go into that because I'll pull up a video and to make this video longer than I was supposed to. Anyway, he will repay his enemies for their evil deeds. His fury will fall on his foes. He will pay them back even to the ends of the earth. So shall, in KJV 19, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. Right? And the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob. Not in Esau, not in Moab, not in Ishmael, not in Ammon, not in the Philistines, not in the Hagarenes, not in the Egyptians, not in the Ethiopians. Okay? In Jacob. Because the covenant and the promise of protection from the Most High God was passed to Abraham, his friend, and Abraham's son, Isaac, because Abraham had many sons, but the chosen seed that the Most High chose to give his covenant to was Isaac, not Ishmael, not the 12 sons of Keturah. Okay? Then you got also, in addition to that, that passed from was supposed to pass on to Esau, but Esau sold his birthright for one morsel of meat, as it is written in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16. Lest any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For as ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. So the Most High God rejected him and put him off to the side, and has a perpetual hatred for Esau for what he did by putting off, rejecting, and selling a gift of the Most High God that was given to him for the modern day equivalent to a pot roast. So the Most High hates Esau, okay? It's a fact. Romans chapter 9, verse 13, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Okay, so unfortunately for you, boo-hoo, evangelical Christian power base, God actually hates. He's not love and mercy all the time. God is not good all the time, trust me, because he sends evil spirits off on the left-hand side of his throne to destroy an indigenous population of people. That is his desire. Remember, your arms are too short to box with the Lord. You can't win. Okay? You can't even get to low Earth orbit. You go any higher, you'll be torn the fuck apart with the radiation field of Van Allen's belt, would have asteroids the size of Texas moving at 14,000 miles a second. How the fuck are you going to pass through that? Alive. Because one of them asteroids could hit another asteroid and come back at you at 14,000 miles per second, the opposite direction. It's like shooting pool in a pool hall. You hit one ball, the ball hits this ball, that ball hits those others, and they scatter all over the place. Imagine that in an elliptical orbit, okay, in a gravitational field at 14,000. That's faster than a speeding bullet, goddammit. The size of Texas? The size of an 18-wheeler? Come on now. So, no, you never made it to the moon because you can't get that fast, okay, without coming apart in the atmosphere. Okay. So the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is going to come to them that turn from transgression. What is transgression? Sin. 1 John chapter 3, verse 4. He that sinneth transgresseth also the law, for sin is transgression of the law. See? So those that turn from transgression are the ones that are going to be saved by Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Okay? By lifting up that standard of spiritual power. Right? Let's go to Zechariah chapter 12, verse 7. Right? The Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. In that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David. Now, we all know, if you go read the book of Psalms 18, it will tell you that King David broke a bow of steel on his arm, which brings in Superman on invulnerability. Okay, he gave him the power to run through a troop. A troop can range anywhere between 1,000 and 3,000 men. And King David just hacked them all to death. So he had to have super stamina, okay, to do all this hacking, and super strength to cleave people in half. Okay? Oh, then the Lord gave him the strength to leap over a wall. Is this not where he can leap tall buildings in a single bound? That's where he got Superman from, man. Okay? Right? Stronger than a speeding locomotive. Faster than a speeding bullet. Come on, man. Get the fuck out of here. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. That's where they got it from. The idea of Superman from King David's invulnerability based on the blessing of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai as his favorite guy. Okay? Shit, come on. Samson would got super strength. Okay, but King David was the favorite guy, man. Wasn't nobody going to whoop him at all. And the nations of the world remember that. They want revenge against us. Anyway, that's the reason why they want to come to try to do what they can to seek to destroy us. Verse 9, Zechariah chapter 12, verse 9. It shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. Okay? How's he going to do that? Ezekiel chapter 25, verse 12, right? Let's get it. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, because that Edom hath dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and hath greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will also stretch out mine hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it, and will make it desolate from Teman, and they of Dedan shall fall by the sword. NLT, therefore says the sovereign Lord, I will raise my fist of judgment against Edom. I will wipe out its people and animals with the sword. I will make a wasteland of everything from Teman to Dedan. And I will accomplish this by the hand of my people Israel. They will carry out my vengeance with anger, and Edom will know that this vengeance is from me. I, the sovereign Lord, has spoken. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel. And they will do in Edom according to mine anger and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord. So the standard is the Israelites that the Most High God chose, that have turned from transgression, where their works do follow them, spiritual power. Okay? Makes sense? Anyway, so this Edomite deflecting from taking responsibility of destroying Esau, Edom's white hegemony based on white privilege and white supremacy, is going to bring civil unrest and national emergency. That's basically what they want to do. 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. 911 is going to be offline. The police are going to be at home trying to protect their families from everybody around them. The fire department is going to be offline. They're going to be busy trying to put out fires all over the place. Hospitals are going to be overwhelmed. Ambulances are going to be turned over in the middle of the fucking street. People trying to find medicine, bandages to stop from the violence that's happening. Okay, to their friends and family members that are bleeding out on the fucking floor from the sedition. Right? A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All this civil unrest is going to bring in martial law, the Insurrection Act, and the implementation of it by Agent Orange, Donald Trump, Nero 47. Right? For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, their houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Right? Man gonna be scared to go out and look out his window, because under martial law, okay, you should not be able to go outside. They're gonna put a curfew. You can't go outside. Why are they doing it? You scared looking out the window. Right? See what I mean? A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Okay? This is going to happen. Donald Trump says there's not going to be a World War III. There's going to be peace. They just signed a peace agreement, right? At the Abrahamic Accords and all this other shit for the Middle East. Bibi Mikowski has violated already. So that goes up into the biblical scripture of Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 20. Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. So there's not going to be any peace treaty. There's not going to be any peace. Right? Where is it? Isaiah 49 and 21, is it? Nope. No. I think it's 46, maybe. Nope. Damn. What is that? Damn. Damn. I can't remember what biblical scripture that is. Okay. No. Okay. I'll just type it in. No peace to the wicked. Oh, it's Isaiah 57 and 21. There is no peace, saith my God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, to the wicked. So ain't going to be no peace treaties. Ain't going to be no peace. The Most High wants war. He wants you down in the valley of Jehoshaphat where he could plead with you there for his people, Israel. Let's go to Joel. What the hell? Hold on. Joel. Hold on. Joel. Okay. Right? Joel chapter 3 verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered amongst the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for an harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. That's the reason why Moism is prevalent amongst the so-called black community, the Latino community, right? Because they sold little boys for sex slaves, right? Real shit. Okay, and then, you know, but these devils going to pay for that shit because the Most High is going to plead with them. Okay, and we'll go back into interlinear again, and we'll plead, Shabbat, to judge, to govern, to vindicate, to punish, right? To rule, to govern, to judge, to execute judgment, for condemning and punishing, right? To be judged, to be avenged, to execute judgment, to defend, to deliver, to pronounce sentence for or against, by implication to vindicate or punish, by extension to govern, to litigate, to avenge, to condemn, to contend, okay? To plead, right? So the Most High says he's going to plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So, yep, these devils, they got a lot to pay for, man. Let's go back into it. Lion, snake. Deflection. What does it mean when someone is deflecting? When someone is deflecting, they are using a defense mechanism to avoid taking responsibility or facing criticism by shifting the focus to someone or something else. This can involve changing the subject, blaming another person, projecting their own faults, or even attacking the other person. It's a way of protecting their self-image or avoiding uncomfortable confrontation. Is this not an uncomfortable conversation?
I want to go right into this bill because I know this is something a lot of people have questions about, and quite frankly, from where I sit, there's been a lot of misinformation out there about the bill.
Would you sign on or write up a bill for Medicare for all? We've got Medicare now. We can start rolling back the age 5, 10 years at a time. Would you support that?
We can't afford that.
Yes, you can.
I truly believe this bill protects Medicaid for the future.
With $450 million FEMA dollars being reallocated to open Alligator Alcatraz and $600 million taxpayer FEMA dollars being used to now open more concentration camps and ICE burning through $8.4 million a day to illegally detain people, how much does it cost for fascism? How much do the taxpayers have to pay for a fascist country?
Okay, that question will probably never get answered. Okay? Not from a Republican, because Project 25 is all about a fascist dictatorship. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach. Shalom.